The Kriegsmarine make their debut in the recent Company Heroes 3 update, Endure and Defy. A battle group belonging to the Africa Corps, they bring with them an interesting set of abilities along with a new infantry unit, the Kriegsmarine themselves. Hi guys, it's HelpingHans here, and today I'll be doing a deep dive into the Kriegsmarine battle group and also giving you a build order you could use to potentially go alongside it. Let's begin. So let's get started then. Here we have the Kriegsmarine battle group here on the right hand side, and before we get into a build order, we're just going to go through all the abilities here. So offshore support for 0 command points is the Kriegsmarine squad, so you want to basically, as soon as you start a match, you always just want to straight away get these guys out. So we're just going to select them now.
The Kriegsmarine have deployed their finest troops.
And here they are available on the right hand side for 275 manpower, so let's call them on.
A squad of mariners are en route.
And they come on as a 4-man squad, and they can be upgraded with things like the MG42 as well as an SDG44 package. Now this SDG44 package is 40 munitions, the MG42 is 100, and generally the MG42 upgrades is better for them at longer ranges, and then the SDGs is better for close quarters combat. So if you notice, the standard Kriegsmarine squad actually starts with a single SDG, which actually makes it pretty good against early kind of light vehicles like maybe the Dingo or the Jeep. So you'll probably see a lot at the moment with people using this unit inside of 250 to combat maybe a Dingo or a Jeep, or just use it as chasing down kind of squads at the start of the game. But yeah, the early SDG is very strong, and don't knock that at all, because that's quite nice for them to get. So once we put down the light support company, the SDG44 package becomes available, so we'll just buy that right now. And there we go, every single man on the squad now has SDGs, which is pretty sweet. And then the MG42 upgrade becomes available once you have bought fire support elements or you've thrown down mechanized company. And we'll just buy that on the guy here, so you can see what that looks like. So still 1 SDG, 2 Kar 98s, and the MG42 machine gun there. One great thing about the Kriegsmarine themselves, guys, is that they can repair structures very quickly. They are probably one of the best units in the game for repairing structures. They repair the structures at 12.0 health a second. It also says the unit takes 100 additional damage and 200% easy to hit while repairing. However, once they get to Veterancy 1, they unlock a passive ability called Combat Builder, which means this unit does not take any additional damage when constructing or repairing. So that kind of debuff that they get when they repair, like normal units will receive, that doesn't apply to them once they get Veterancy 1, which is pretty handy. And generally you'll be using these guys probably quite a lot to repair your hard points that you'll be building later on as well. They also have the ability to lay down some sandbags, wire, also plant down mines, and put down normal resource caches, as well as construct hardpoints once we've unlocked them over here, which we'll talk about in a second.
What can the Navy do for you?
They also have the ability to lob just standard stick grenades for 30 munitions. And the other unique trait about them is that they have a grenade resupply ability, which is a really unique feature for them. When they pick up these crates that are spawned by the hardpoints, they can get different kind of munitions, and these munitions could be a number of different things, which I'll show you right now over here on the right hand side. So here we have 4 Kriegsmarine with all the different types of throwables that they can get, the different types of munitions they can get. So if they pick up a crate, they could have access to a grenade assault.
Grenade on that mark. Orders carried out.
Like so. And it's also worth noting, guys, that when they use this kind of like special ability that they have, they can only use it once until they pick up another crate, and it doesn't cost them anything. It's not a munitions cost, so you don't use up any of your munitions here, so it's just a cool kind of like a throwable that you get. Here we have the Kriegsmarine with the ability to lob a nice rifle grenade, which is pretty handy. It's probably one of my favourite pickups for the Kriegsmarine, because this rifle grenade could be great to wipe a retreating squad or a clumped up unit, maybe an enemy machine gun or something like that. It's a really strong ability there. We then also have the incendiary grenade, like so. Good to deny an area, force a unit out of a building, things like that. And then lastly, we also have a white phosphorus grenade. Does dot damage like the incendiary grenade, but it also kind of block lines of sight and things like that as well. So yeah, they all get kind of that cool like ability there once they pick up a crate. And it's worth noting, guys, that the type of grenade or charge that you pick up from your grenade resupply ability when you pick up a crate is completely random. So here we'll have the Kriegsmarine squad pick up this crate. They've got themselves a grenade assault. Could have been any one of the 4 items, but also if they would decide to go, maybe they wanted to heal as well. If they pick up another crate, it will remove the charge of the previous ability. So you see we had that kind of grenade assault. Now it's a white phosphorus grenade. We'll pick up another crate. Now it's a rifle grenade. And then we pick up this one. Oh, it's back to grenade assault again. So hopefully, you know, just to let you guys know that if you do pick up another crate, it overwrites what you previously had. So as soon as you have one command point, you probably want to throw it straight into your hardpoint choice over here on your logistics operations tree. So let's go do that now.
We must tighten our logistics net. Hardpoints are now available.
And once you've done that, you'll now be able to see that the hardpoint can be constructed for 50 missions in your build menu for your Kriegsmarine. Also, Panzer Pioneers have the option to build them as well. So generally, when you want to build your first hardpoint, you kind of got to be thinking about, you know, where's a kind of maybe a safe location, because you don't want it to immediately get killed. Your first hardpoint, you know, before you maybe invest into other points like improved hardpoints to increase the health of the structure, they're quite squishy. They can't survive much kind of firepower. Even infantry with small arms are enough to take them out fairly quickly. So your first hardpoint, you want to be, you know, thinking smart about where you place it. Somewhere maybe not too far forward, but not too far back. Let's take this +5 munitions point here, for instance. So we'll hardpoint this. There we go. Now, the hardpoint here, you can actually garrison it with 2 squads. So you could have your squad sitting inside this, and they'll be able to dish out damage from here, which is nice. And hardpoints themselves do have the option to, you can salvage the hardpoint. So salvage, the selected structure returns 75% of its cost after 10 seconds. So for instance, if you don't fancy having this hardpoint anymore, you get 75% of 50 munitions back, which is handy.
What can the Navy do for you?
And then what happens, you'll notice here, once you've built your first hardpoint, you'll see this timer start to go down around here. And on the right-hand side, it's actually 150 seconds, and that is your supply shipment. So right now, in testing, what I found out is that actually every single hardpoint generates up to 4 hardpoints, that is, 1 crate. So 4 hardpoints, 4 crates. On the tooltip, it says 2 allied hardpoints generate 1 crate. So what that means, guys, is that if you have an allied player who's also playing as the DAC and using Kriegsmarine as well and having their own hardpoint, if they build 2 hardpoints themselves, that will give you 1 crate, as I'll now demonstrate. So in this demonstration, this is us over here on the left-hand side of the map. We haven't built any hardpoints yet. However, we do see a number 2 on the supply shipment symbol over here, which means there are 2 charges ready to be deployed when 150 seconds has elapsed. And if we look over here, we have a friendly DAC player over here and another DAC player over here. And we have 1, 2 hardpoints for the yellow DAC player, and for the teal DAC player, we have 2 hardpoints as well. So because they have 2 hardpoints each, that gives me 1 charge, but because there's 2 of them, that's 2 charges. Now, let's go build our own hardpoint here. There we go. And now that charge has gone up to 3 because it's counting our own hardpoint will be 1 charge. Now, as you probably just noticed, you'll only start getting your first set, you know, the countdown will only start once you've built your first hardpoint. So it's very important to try and get your first hardpoint built as soon as possible so you can be benefiting from all these crates. So we've got 3 crates that will be dropping because it will say 3 there. But if we build ourselves one more hardpoint like so, bang, it's now gone up to 4. So if we now wait for the time to elapse, we'll now see that 4 crates will spawn around this hardpoint.
Commandant, supplies have arrived.
And there you guys can see 4 crates have deployed, even with only 2 friendly hardpoints made. And we're getting the other 2 from the 2 sets of allied hardpoints on the map. One thing I just want to quickly mention before we move on is that you can't get any more than 4 crates every 150 seconds, even if you were to exceed the amount of hardpoints than 4, or if your allies built a bunch of hardpoints, you know, the 4 would be the maximum amount you can get. And to prove it, I will just build a couple more hardpoints here. You can see I've just built an additional 2 hardpoints. The charges still stay at 4 over here, and we will even go to here and throw some extra hardpoints down from our allies. So yellow now has another set of 2 hardpoints here, and once again the charges still remain at 4. At the moment we just have the 1 hardpoint And once this timer is complete, you'll then see, so 70 seconds or so, we'll have a crate drop down, and we'll just fast forward to when that happens.
Resource crates have arrived.
There we go, our first resource crate has dropped. Now, the type of crate that drops is completely random, as it says here. Every 150 seconds, random resupply crates will deploy on the designated hardpoint. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a second hardpoint, a third one, and a fourth one. Now we should see another 4 crates deploy from this hardpoint. So here we go. It's another 3 seconds before the 4 crates drop, and then bang!
Resource crates deployed.
4 crates have now deployed because we have 1, 2, 3, 4 hardpoints. So in this clip, you can see the maximum amount of supply crates that you can have down at any one time on one point, on one hardpoint that is 12. Here we have 9, and then when the timer is refreshed, we then see 3 more be deployed rather than the 4 that are available, because 12 is the maximum we can have. So if you find yourself in the situation where you haven't picked up all the crates in time and the timer is about to end, don't worry. What you can do is use the designate resupply point on another point, like so. We're going to use it right now onto this manpower point.
Confirmed. Marking this sector for logistics dumps.
And that way, when the timer runs out, another 4 crates will appear on this point, and these will still stay on the map. So as you can see here, through the course of this kind of testing session, I've left it on this point, I've left it on this point, and also I've left it on this point. So you can see how many potential crates you could get throughout the course of a game if it goes on for long enough. But generally, guys, you'll be wanting to pick up all these crates as quickly, generally as quickly as possible, because this is all munitions on the ground, right? So this is what the great thing about these crates are, especially these ones. The crates that look like they've got ammo in, they do provide 20 munitions per crate. So here you can see, guys, we just designated this as the other point, and bang,
Kriegsmarine have delivered resource crates to our
there's
sector.
4 more crates on the ground. So what I tend to see, guys, when I'm playing up against Kriegsmarine players, or I have Kriegsmarine players on my team, is that by the end of the match, and I glance over to their hard points, they're always looking like this, where they've got like all these crates on the ground, and they're not being used. Like, this is 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 munitions lying on the ground that could be invest into some really nice off maps that this commander provides, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So we're about to see, if we forget to designate a new resupply point and the timer runs out, it'll say it'll drop supply crates, but it won't, because it's 12 out of 12 at the moment. And so we've just wasted potential resources.
Notify squad leaders. Supply crates are available.
So we can see there, no new crates spawned in. We're maxed out at 12 out of 12, and that could have been potentially up to 80 munitions, that we've just kind of wasted because we didn't pick up these crates or didn't designate another hard point. So always you want to be picking these things up so that you're getting these free resources, basically. So let's now go on to the crates themselves and what you actually gain. So we know that the munitions crates, if you pick them up, that's 20 munitions, but they also increase your unit's attack speed for 90 seconds by 20%, which is very significant. The medical crates, as you probably suspect, they will heal all your units nearby. So if you pick up 1 crate, every unit nearby will also benefit and heal up, and also vehicles will also be able to pick these up and heal as well. It's worth noting that if units do get in combat, the healing aura that this kind of crate emits will cease until they're out of combat again, and this lasts for 75 seconds. It also says here that infantry will heal for 2 every second, and vehicles will heal for 8 every second. So here I'll do a quick demonstration here. So here we'll have a Panzer III that's been wounded, and also some Kriegsmarines that have been wounded. We'll get the Panzer III to pick up the crate, and you can see we have a healing going on over here, and also the nearby Kriegsmarine that was close enough was also benefiting from that. If we move these Kriegsmarine over to this, they won't actually benefit from the healing, so you need to make sure your units are fairly close when picking up the healing. We can also pick up multiple crates as well, so we could pick up the munitions crate alongside, so we've got the healing and the increased tack bonus going in here. The increased tack bonus does not apply across other squads, like the medical kit, so you can see only that one unit that picked up the munitions crate gets the attack bonus, which is that symbol here. So munition supplies, 20% attack speed, lasts 75 seconds. And then we can then use this fighting this Sherman, for instance. Let's just lower our health a little bit. We'll get out of the fight. We're not going to be healing because we're in combat, but if we stay out of combat for a moment, you'll see that our health of the vehicle will start to go up because we still have the healing aura on. Just give it a second to kick in, and there we go. It's now healing again. Same thing as well for the infantry, so we grab the med kit for these guys. And these guys are Kriegsmarine, so they also got themselves a charge of a rifle grenade. We'd also grab their ammunitions crate, so that will also increase their fire rate by 20%. So they can now get into combat and be more lethal. So other things to know about the hardpoints themselves, they can be upgraded to a forward retreat point for 150 manpower, and also increase the health by 120 when you do that as well. You can then spend 150 manpower to also upgrade it so it becomes like a resource cache, which is pretty sweet. And you can also make it a reinforcement point as well. But for me, I tend to just use an Opel Blitz medical truck to have that kind of mobile reinforcement and healing going whenever I want. The last upgrade is available is the flak term, which will be a flak feeling anti-aircraft gun that will shoot down planes. Also fairly effective against infantry, light vehicles and aircraft. But when you do upgrade it, it does lose the ability to be garrisoned. So if you want to get the flak term, that is this option over here, the improved hardpoints. And when you do upgrade this, you'll notice that all the points as well will automatically go up by 120 health. So let's just get this for a moment. You'll see that this hardpoint has 600 HP over here. We have just a normal resource cache as well with 600. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll get this. That's now unlocked. And now we can see by just selecting that, we've already increased the health of the hardpoints by 120. Then, if we were to then buy the flak term upgrade for 50 munitions, another 120 health has been applied, so it's even more durable. So this is pretty cool, and you know, this would be a nice kind of little defensive point. Won't be very good against anything like tanks, like proper strong medium tanks and stuff like that, because it hasn't got much armor pen. And anti-tank guns at range can kill it quite quickly, or like mortar indirect fire and kind of off maps will kill it. But it's not super expensive, and it's kind of a nice deterrent. A little bit of defense around your hardpoints. Next up, we're going to be talking about supply reserve. So this says immediately deploys a medical and munitions crate, as well as an additional random resupply crate at a targeted friendly territory. Now, in testing, what I've done is when I'm trying to pop this on a hardpoint, like so, nothing happens. And as well as just a normal cache, nothing happens there as well. However, points without any kind of hardpoint or cache do drop the 3 crates. I feel like this maybe is currently a bug because it doesn't say on the text here that, you know, it is only applies to territory points that haven't got an upgrade. So this might be a bug right now, but this should, when using this ability on sectors that have hardpoints and just general caches, this should drop an extra 3 crates. Though I imagine it probably won't drop the extra 3 crates if you've already got max 12 out of 12, as we see in this example here. But this is not a bad ability once I guess it's getting fixed, because it's only 100 manpower that you're spending to drop these kind of crates down. So if you want the crates immediately, you can get these things down. So I'll just turn off the instant ability recharge, pop it down again. And it's 2 minutes on cooldown before you can use this again, where the normal ship supplement is 150 seconds. So if you've got plenty of manpower during a game, you're floating a lot, and you're feeling that you want to spend it, it's always a good idea maybe to use the supply reserves to throw this down to get maybe some more munitions crates that you can use to then spam some more nice off-map abilities. So I've just loaded into another game now, guys, and we'll just demonstrate this ability again here, supply reserves. So it seems to be working in a fresh game here, and we'll drop it on this point as well over here. 3 crates there as well. So yeah, it's definitely a bug, probably maybe to do with the cheat mod that I'm using, but hopefully this isn't an issue in your games. But if you do have an issue where it's not deploying, I think you're pretty safe if you just drop it on a point that doesn't have a hard point or resource cache. So next up, guys, we'll talk about supply interdiction for 2 command points. So this is a cool passive ability, which kind of makes it so that you can get a free crate every time you decap an enemy point. So here we have a Kriegsmarine squad. Here we go, we're going to decapture this point, and as you see, once it's been fully decapped, this point that we've now recently just designated as a new hard point should spawn a free crate. So here we go, any second now, and bang, there's our free crate, which is pretty damn handy. So if you're doing a lot, attacking a lot of territory and constantly getting decapping going on, yeah, a great way to get more crates and potentially more munitions for yourself as well to then keep spamming more off maps. So in this example, guys, I just wanted to show you that actually allied units, if they do decap enemy territories, it doesn't provide the free crate. So we make this the designated point, and we should see, if this ability was working for allied units, then as soon as this gets decapped, there should be a free crate spawning here, and no, that is not the case. If I decap the point though, with my own unit, like so, there we go, there's the free crate. So with that in mind, it's probably a good idea to let your allied team, if they are playing Kriegsmarine, to get the decap on the point so they can benefit from those crates. And you could also benefit from those crates as well, because you could go and pick them up and get those free munitions, free attack speed, and the free healing as well. So definitely, if you're a Kriegsmarine player, let your team know you've got supply interdiction and let your units get the decap so you can benefit from it. Another thing this supply interdiction passive ability does, it upgrades the crates as well. So munitions crates increases the duration of their 20% attack speed buff by 45 seconds. Medical immediately heals the unit that picks it up. So infantry squads immediately will heal plus 15, and vehicles will immediately heal plus 80, and then I guess continue to fully heal all the way up to 100%, rather than just heal and then slowly heal all the way up. So there's a bit of an improvement there with supply interdiction. So overall, I think it's a pretty good ability. The other option here is to go for strategic mobility, which I'll just grab now. So with strategic mobility, all friendly units within a range of a hard point, 55 range to be exact, move and rotate 20% faster. I can see the rotation being pretty handy with something maybe like an 88. It'll help the 88 turn around a bit faster to track targets. Could be quite good there. Maybe the flat feeling as well. Things like that require quick rotation. So that's pretty nice. But yeah, that one is actually though 4 command points, which is quite steep compared to this one, which is just 2. So I'm thinking maybe supply interdiction might be slightly better there. I don't know, it depends. I'm kind of like, both of them are pretty damn nice. But, generally the more munitions I have, which, from supply interdiction, which you generally will provide through the free crates you get, again, the more off maps. And let's go on to that now. So we're now on to the Starburst Flares. Let's go select that. So you get the Starburst Flares for just 1 command point. And for only 55 munitions, you can drop these flares wherever you like, apart from the enemy HQ sector, which is over here. So we can drop this out, and this is great to give us vision for not only for ourselves but for our teammates. As you can see here, 3 flares are dropped simultaneously over quite a wide area, and then you use this in conjunction with something like maybe the naval intervention or the Fritz guided bomb to then nail a particular target that you want to hit. The other option between the Starburst Flares is the Stuka Overflight, which I will then get next. I'm not a massive fan of picking this one because I prefer the flares, and you've got off maps here anyway, so you don't really need this one. But we'll just spawn the this Stuka Overflight in, so we'll select that as well as another option here. So we've got that selected. So we've got some allied units over here. We'll do a quick flare out. There we go, and then we'll drop the Stuka Overflight. Now, this is only 100 munitions. The other abilities are a bit more expensive. I think this is 200, and this is 180. And then we'll drop this ability here, and 3 planes will come overhead. They can be shot down. Get an idea of how much damage this does. So 3 bombs almost directly on top of that shell, but not enough to kill it. So I don't feel like, for me, it's really that good. If it lands directly on top of an infantry squad, it might completely wipe them. But for me, I don't rate the Stuka Overflight that well, unfortunately. So, but we'll talk about the naval intervention next up, which I think is a very good ability to use. So we'll select that for 3 command points. And once again, we'll use the Starburst Flares on this area to reveal an important location. And then we'll use the naval bombardment here, right on top of this American artillery position. This is a great ability here to help clean up these nasty sim cities that the allied team might do. You see how damaging it is there. And it also drops a bit of smoke afterwards, which is quite handy. So if you do this first, and then you're planning on to do a following up assault, it will maybe cover your units as they approach. So pretty nice there. 180 munitions, almost wiped 2 complete howitzers there. So yeah, definitely I think worth the money for that. And finally, we've got the Fritz X guided bomb, which we'll go into. So let's just reset the command points here. So that's 4 command points. Now the Fritz guided bomb, you do need vision to be able to drop it. You can see I can drop it here, but I can't drop it in the fog of war. And the interesting thing with this ability, it's the first time ever you can actually move an off-map around however you want to land it into a specific location. You could use it to track a specific target. However, 200 munitions is very expensive, and it only has a very small area, a blast radius, right? So I'll drop a Fritz bomb here. And to micro it, you need to click the portrait icon and then move around as you would do any other unit. You can then move it through into the fog of war. And in the last couple of seconds, you can no longer move it because it's like locked in. And then it will then drop and then severely damage whatever it hits. Though one thing I want to point out is it against like things like maybe 17-pounders or anti-tank guns, it just decrews. So here we have 3 American units. We're just going to try to drop the Fritz bomb on these units here. We'll drop 3 in quick succession here, just to give you guys a quick example. So you can see here, some decent damage to the Pershing on a direct hit, but still almost about 40% health. Direct hitting onto these support weapons does fully decrew them, but no damage to the weapon at all. So for 200 munitions, it's a bit lackluster. You'd hope it would kill the weapon as well, but it doesn't. It just actually decrews. So for me, I don't know, I'm not really sure if this is worth it to just drop on support weapons, unless you've definitely got a follow through, to then maybe steal the weapon or blow it up with some other units. But yeah, I'm thinking for 200 missions, it's just so expensive just to be able to do that. Then the other thing, though, if you go for the naval intervention, if the opponent doesn't move the unit, it'll decrew, and the following up shots will probably finish off and wipe the weapon as well, and it's cheaper. So yeah, I do see though a case scenario for the Fritz bomb. Maybe you want to wipe squads of infantry, maybe on retreat, you time it well, and you can nail some squads like that. So that might be a good case scenario for the Fritz guided bomb. But generally, I'm not really seeing why you'd pick this over the naval intervention. So I played with both quite extensively, and I have to say I do find that naval intervention is just better overall. It's 20 munitions cheaper. So yeah, I'd recommend picking naval intervention most cases over going for the Fritz guided bomb. So that's the end of the deep dive session of this video. We'll now go into a build order, but if you want to skip ahead or check out me using a build order in person, I've got some replays that I'll link in the description below that you guys can check out. But let's get into the build order here straight away. So you start off, got your HQ and your Panzer Pioneers. You'll want to go straight into the Kriegsmarine and call one onto the field. At the same time, you probably want to be queuing up your 250 half-track. Next, I like to get myself a second Kriegsmarine squad as well in the build. And the idea with the 250 and the Kriegsmarine is you're utilizing it to harass allied infantry and maybe the Dingo or the Jeep early game or a Weasel that you might be up against. The Dingo will still generally beat this on a 1v1 fight, even with the Kriegsmarine in the back. But in conjunction, if you've got your Panzer Pioneers together with your 250, you'll do quite well. Don't be too aggressive with the 250. You need to keep it alive because it is very important to keep your units covered while they're inside, and also super important because of the medical station. If your squads during combat they take damage, you can then pop on the medical station and it will heal your guys back up. Also, the Panzer Pioneers will be benefiting from combined arms as well, so you want to try and see, if you can keep your 250 alive, it's good for that reason. Once you've kind of got these units out, I would then recommend getting the light support company out.
the support company.
Possibly, if the dingo is still causing you issues, like light vehicles like jeeps and things like that, possibly want to start queuing out maybe the Panzerjäger squad.
Anti-vehicle infantry.
I would also be getting the fire support elements and getting out your fat feeling half-track.
Mounted flag truck has arrived.
Around this time as well, once you've got these units on the field, you'll probably be thinking about putting down your first hard point. So, first hard point, let's say we're going to go pop it on this point over here. There we go, we'll pop our hard point over there. And the idea is we're going to be trying to play around this hard point and try and get every kind of 50 munitions you get, you kind of want to try and decide where you're going to be investing it, because sometimes if you invest it all into hard point super early, it leaves you kind of vulnerable. You might need to get a weapon upgrade on your Panzer Pioneers. Maybe you need that flamethrower to help flush a unit out of a building, or maybe you might want to make sure your infantry is a bit stronger, get the SDG package. So it's not always advisable just to spam as many hard points down as possible, but if you can get away with getting hard points down sooner rather than later is generally better, because the sooner you put them down, the more crates you'll be getting, the more munitions you'll be getting as well, and it'll help you out for the late game. The next thing I like to do, guys, is go for an armory upgrade, which is probably emergency repair kits, or potentially maybe go for the combat half-tracks in the early game just to make sure this 250 is a bit more durable, increases their health by 40 and increases their armor by 5.5, helps them survive a lot better against the dingo and the jeep in the early game. And then you might want to convert that 250 later on over to a 259 variant with the autocannon. Kriegsmarine 4-man squad inside will help buff up the fire rate of it as well, which is pretty nice. Or maybe you want a mortar half-track for indirect fire. I would also recommend going for the emergency repair kits, as I previously just said, because you get the increased plus 40 health on your flak feeling. That will basically allow it to survive 2 anti-tank gun rounds, and this is probably the strongest unit for you. I mean, this is probably one of the best units in the game. Challenging anyone to argue me otherwise, because it's just such a good mobile suppression platform and does a lot of damage against infantry units. Also, the out of combat repairs are pretty nice. Though that being said, with this commander, because you can pick up the med kits from the hard points themselves, that could be another way you can repair out of combat anyway. So you might not need to go for the emergency repair kits. You could go for the smoke package instead to give the 20% speed and rotation. But I still feel like, I just prefer the emergency repair kits. It's just a personal preference for me. But that's what I like to do. And because you've got Kriegsmarine, guys, you're probably not going to get bolstered infantry squads anyway, as well as the advanced repairs, because the med kits will heal you, and you're not got any Panzer Grenadiers on the field at this point in time. You could potentially get one out, in the build as well. Get one out because you might want a unit that could snare and get some, lob an anti-tank grenade on a vehicle that might be W. So including and incorporating a single Panzer Grenadier with a couple of Kriegsmarines is fine as well in this build, I would say. But I would probably still say, even if you just get the one Panzer Grenadier, it's still not worth it just to get that buff. You're probably better off going for combat half-tracks. So once you've got this out as well, again, if you need indirect fire, you can call on the LEIG. If you need, some more solid AT, you have the pack gun call-in as well. This would be, around the time that you'll have this, any one of these call-ins available to you. So don't forget also to get your medical Opel Blitz truck out as well, because you need it to heal and reinforce your squads. Yes, you can upgrade the hard point to be a reinforcement point, and yes, you could heal off these kind of medical crates that do drop. But just having the med truck to be able to move forward and back and get healing and reinforcement wherever you need it is just so handy to have. So I'd always like having the Opel Blitz. It's not that much anyway. It's just 200 manpower and 20 fuel. So there's no kind of big issue there to get that. I think it's just got great utility. You might not always have a med kit down ready and available. You might lose the hard point, so you might lose the opportunity for reinforcement. To get the reinforcement point on the hard point as well, it's also 150 manpower. I mean, why not just spend the extra 50 manpower just to get the medical truck, and then it can move out of danger. If danger comes its way, it can move. The hard point can't. So medical truck just makes a lot of sense there. And then I would be thinking about going straight up to tier 4.
Commandant, you have available command points.
And then you'd be probably wanting to start call on multiple Panzer 3s.
Panzer 3 is awaiting orders.
And playing these around your hard points, utilizing, getting them to pick up the munitions caches, so they increase their attack speed. So generally, yeah, I'd think it'd be better for your infantry squads to pick up the med kits, and your tanks to, your Panzer 3s probably to pick up the the munitions crates, because the tanks will probably benefit more from that 20% fire rate increase, I think. So that's what I would do there. Though if you need to, use a vehicle to pick up a med crate, do it, because you want to get your vehicles back in the fight faster. So that's what I would recommend there. Also, probably get yourself a Stuka out for indirect, for some more solid indirect fire later on down the line. And if you do need an 88, you have that available to you to fight lots of allied tanks. And so we're just going to lock in. So we've gone for combat half tracks here. We've gone for emergency repair kits. And the last armory upgrade possibly might be tungsten core ammunition. There would be a good one. So then boost up the damage of your Panzer 3s. You could go for some other things like maybe a survival package, extra 80% health, and allows you to cap territory with your vehicles. That could be quite handy as well with supply interdiction. Vehicles getting the decap, more crates of, put on your hard points as well, potentially. But it's not a huge thing here. I think it's probably tungsten core is pretty strong, because with the recent update with Enduring Defy patch, the tungsten core does more damage now as well, like it used to do. So allows your Panzer 3s to scale better up against more heavier allied vehicles later on in the game. And then later on, finally, I guess you could also go for armor reserves, and then potentially call on your Tiger tank. Would be great if you can afford to call that on as well. Eventually you always want to try and aim towards to get the Tiger out, because it's one of the strongest vehicles in the game and is a wiping machine, especially against infantry. You'll see it just slap down squads, and when you get to that late game stage, the Tiger's the perfect unit to try and start wiping those Vet 3 infantry squads that are becoming thorns in your side. So yeah, I guess the idea with utilizing the rest of your commander abilities, though, you're utilizing the flares to give targets to your teammates, utilizing the naval intervention to smash out enemy strong points or emplacements and things like that. And yeah, your teammates can also benefit from all these kind of caches. They can come over and pick these up if they want. It's up to them, but that will also benefit them as well. So it's just a nice kind of team game kind of commander, because everybody benefits, and you can give vision for your team through those flares, where not many other commanders have that kind of ability. The flares themselves are uncounterable, whereas like you've got recon planes, they can be shot down. But the Starburst flares, ally players, they'll get revealed, and then they've just got to scatter or likely get killed by Axis off maps from any kind of player. So it's probably one of the strongest commanders there, especially because like I said earlier, you can flare the area, spot for yourself as well. So if you've got enough munitions, which you should do, if you're playing right, you've got enough hard points down, you've got all these crates, you're constantly picking them up, you're going to be generally having a lot more munitions than most players will be having because of this kind of like crate system. So therefore you'll be able to flare for yourself and then follow through with naval intervention. And then also the munitions, you can also spend it on other things, like you could put lots of more mines down with your Panzer Pioneers. You could be, make sure you're getting all the upgrades and all your Kriegsmarine, making sure they're getting their SDGs. So yeah, just make sure you're utilizing your munitions wisely there, guys. You'll have got plenty of it, and don't be letting me see you at the end of a match with all those munitions crates lying on the ground, which could have been some nice other upgrades or off maps you could have potentially used throughout the game. Because if you do end a game and you have them lying around, you could have probably played better. So that's the end of the video, guys. I'll catch you later. See you soon.
So guys, that's the end of the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did and want more content, check out over here and over here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, make sure to click the button down here. Catch you in the next video, guys. Take care. I'll see you soon.